So this will definitely, most likely, probably be the last Acheron video I make. In the last one, we struggled a lot with her build. We got her up to E1 to help with that. Since then, I've spent approximately 5,000 more Trailblaze power getting relics, and I will spare you this time. We're not going to actually have much of a build because I've already raised the pieces. Stopping at E1 though is pretty dumb because it's right next to E2, which is fantastic. So we're going to start off trying to get her to E2. I'll show you the progress I've made in her build, and then we're going to play with her some more. We have 6,400 Stellar Jades. That should be enough, honestly, to guarantee her. Because if we go to details, you can see we're actually not at 0 pity. We're at 1 pity. I feel like I've been summoning a lot lately, so I'm going to make this relatively short. But yeah, there was nothing there. Here is our next tin pull here. This should be the 5-star, actually. We're basically at pity. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Oh, finally my E2 Gallagher. Let's keep going though. Next, still nothing. Got a Dawn. I digress. Okay, we still got nothing there, unfortunately. Just a Pella. And yeah, we're out of Stellar Jades. I guess the game bugged because we should have gotten her by now. We can buy a few, only 8? Okay, let's start with those 8 then. Oh, but these also reset. Okay, we got one more tin pull in there. Still nothing. All right, I see how it is. All right, fine, I'll go do my daily quest. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Acheron's actually been so mean. The entire banner's been mean. Like, it took us this long to get our E2 Gallagher. She really hates coming home in any form. I'm actually gonna add it up from those 3 different summon sessions we did for her. But here, we just got a Lycone, so there was nothing. Next tin pull. Okay, damn. We are like unironically getting very close to pity again, and it would be actually super cool and hilarious if we lost the 50-50. Okay, but there she is at least. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There is a 5-star. Landau's Choice. That's maybe? Oh, wow, we actually won a 50-50. Insane. If it's double Acheron, we're gonna get her to E6 S5, just because I know it's not gonna happen. Mediation, Cornucopia, Adversarial, Hidden Shadow, Cornucopia, Meshing Cogs. Yeah, see? I do at least want to quickly mention the upgrades to her build. What did that extra 3,000 or 4,000, Trailblaze power actually do for us? Here's a before and after for the stats. We have a couple hundred extra attack, like 6 more crit rate, but that is kind of important if we're not taking Sparkle, because with the extra 4 we get from her set, we would be at a base 52, meaning Inert Salsado actually works. I'd say the main upgrade is that we finally got a decent crit damage body. Just as a quick refresher on E2, it's basically a buff to her bonus ability, the Abyss. To max this out, you need 2 other Nihility characters in your team. With her E2, you're maxing this out with just 1 other Nihility. But that's only the first part of it. Every time her turn starts, she'll get a stack of Slash Dream and Inflict Crimson Knot. So in a way, this also replaces that Nihility you're taking out, potentially being able to give herself 3 stacks of each on her turn. You don't even really need more than 1 other Nihility anyway. So this primarily opens up her team possibilities, but in my case, since I was just not always using 2 other Nihilities, it is actually also a pretty significant damage increase. Before we get her to E2 though, I do want to do some comparisons. So I want to do some controlled testing at E1, check out the damage there in like 2 different teams, and then we'll go to E2. So I've been really trying to find a testing methodology that is not only consistent, but will also be consistent at E2. And I figured out if I just use Gallagher's technique point and no one else's, it should be pretty consistent at both E1 and E2 in terms of damage, how many enemies are left when she does her first ultimate, etc. So I'm going to do about 5 runs here and average out the damage, to account for when she criticals a lot, when she doesn't critical as much. So I decided to actually do it 10 times because the numbers varied more than I was expecting. The lowest being a 263k and the highest being a 335k, so like a 50k difference there. If we add them all together, we get 3,003. Dividing that by 10, even though we don't really need to, is 300k. So we got an average damage of 300k on her first ultimate there. The other main thing I wanted to test is 0 Nihility at E1 and 0 Nihility at E2. Unless, of course, you don't get any buff at all without at least 1 other Nihility even at E2. That's halfway what I aim to find out, and if you still do get a buff with 0 Nihility, how much, actually? In case you're wondering, Dr. Aisho's just here for an extra debuff, so that the speed at which we get Acheron's ultimate is consistent. Obviously with this team and no Nihilities, the overall damage is lower, but again, we're not really comparing to the last team. What's important is when we get her to E2, using this exact team, will the numbers actually be different? And if so, by how much? But yeah, the average ultimate in this case comes out to 246k. I really don't think there's any point of testing a 2 Nihility team like my dot team, for example. It really shouldn't change. But yeah, here we go. It's time to get her to E2 now. I wouldn't really know what else to test just for math reasons, so There we go. No turning back now anyway. So sure, we may as well start with this team first. It's still set there and everything. I'm going to see how auto goes. First of all, we might have to just prevent Acheron. Yeah, okay, she gets her ultimate at the very first turn. Just to make everything as consistent as possible, we always hit this trotter way over here that's actually off screen with Dr. Ratio's E here. And then after that, and he does his follow-up attack, then we do Acheron's ultimate. And we got a 249. That's a little bit higher than the average, but it could have been an outlier. Again, we'll do it 9 more times and I'll be back. Yeah, so we're doing the last run here for the 10. But I can definitely say right now, we definitely are doing more damage. So yeah, the average is 262k now versus the 246. It's not a massive difference, and I wasn't expecting it to be a massive difference, but the fact we do get a buff at all is still pretty nice. The much bigger damage increase, I imagine, will happen in the first team we were trying with 1 nihility. Just Silverwolf there. And with this team, we don't have to manually control anything because Silverwolf is faster than Acheron and she would do her stuff regardless. And while I'm confident I didn't mess anything up on those other 10 runs, it's nicer just to be able to let them do their thing. So first one here is 364. I am honestly hoping that 364 is on the lower end because we were already hitting 333 at the max at E1. 380, okay, much better. All right, we are back. Indeed, that 364 was the lowest we hit. We must have not criticaled very much. So yeah, we're now averaging 414k per burst versus the 300k at E1. You may take all of the testing we've done with a grain of salt because our Acheron at the end of the day is only hitting with about 75 or 80% crit rate, though doing 10 runs and averaging them out, I think gives us a pretty good idea about the actual damage increase we're getting. Interestingly though, we are getting much closer to an actual 45% damage increase from our average ultimates there. It's 38%, but when we had 0 nihilities, it was only like a 6% increase. So honestly, I can't tell you exactly why that would be. Like, I would have thought it would have been closer to 15%, like this is closer to 45, but someone smarter than me can probably explain in the comments. I thought maybe it was at first because we are getting Crimson Knots faster and, you know, when you're attacking them, you do more damage, but we had 9 in both cases at E1 and E2, so that couldn't have been it. But in summary, at least according to my testing, you still do get a small damage increase even if you're taking 0 nihilities, and obviously a much bigger increase when you're taking 1. Now, of course, I just want to get a big number, so we are still going to take 1 nihility, of course, but instead of a dumb useless healer, we're going to take Ron May. We probably could get a bigger number actually with Pella, when I think about it. That AoE def down. Attack Sparkle, come on, attack Sparkle, I need the ultimate. Yes, there we go. Okay, here we go. This is, oh no, there's only 2 enemies now. Okay, let's see what 2 enemies, I guess, does here. Oh wait, we also got the Trotter over there. Okay. Ooh, okay, 119 for first strike, 297. I don't know if that's gonna break 1 million. I mean, 809 is still pretty good. All right, we have 4 enemies now. Maybe that's better. Here we go. 138. I still don't think that's gonna break 1 million. 900 though, very close. Unfortunately, I think the Trotter isn't def broken, but oh no, you son of an ass. Why did it just kill 2 of the enemies? Are you serious? Oh, whatever. That should still be decent. 833. We would have so broken 1 million if that bastard didn't kill the 2 enemies. Okay, whatever. But yeah, very similar to E1. I think this would be essentially my main team with her. Sparkle, Silverwolf, Gallagher. For the really hard stuff like Golden Gears, I probably still would swap out Gallagher with Fushuin. A debuffing healer is very useful for Acheron, but I'd rather feel safer with Fushuin, which also gives 10 crit rate. Acheron's burst will take a little bit longer, but at E2 anyway, she's giving herself 3 stacks every time she goes. So especially depending on the path, you know, you could be just doing ultimate after ultimate after ultimate, even without Gallagher. Like we actually were doing, you know, on the Erudition path with Brain in a Vat, we could do like 2 ultimates in a row and everyone was just dead anyway. So Sparkle is really nice for her big crit damage and her action advancement. You know, more often Acheron can go, more stacks she gives herself, of course. At the end of the day though, we already did like Golden Gears, which in my opinion is the hardest content in that exact team, so I don't really see the point of going in there again. I mean, maybe we could see like a 6 or 7 million hit instead of the 5.8 we got last time. I don't think she needed E2. It was mainly because we got her to E1 and I was like, well, I mean, it's kind of dumb to stop at E1. And yeah, I mean, of course she is better. Not that she really needed to be. Like, she should get her ultimate first turn here, you know? I wouldn't have done it right now. I probably would have waited until we got Sparkle. But I mean, still 456 and the entire wave is gone. Now we should have closer to all buffs. I do not believe we have Sparkle's def down on the boss, but yeah, Jesus Christ, we're still getting like 800k in a real team. This is, you know, Cavern of Corrosion, and I think there's buffs here and stuff, but still pretty dang good. Oh yeah, I did kind of want to remedy my fail on stage 3. This was like the first time we actually perfected stage 4 and got 80k. Still though, none of the buffs are actually good for this team. Unless of course the second one here would also give Acheron a stack for her ultimate. I mean, I assume this counts as a debuff, but we'll see. Oh, look at that. Okay. Basically every time an enemy's turn starts, she gets a stack. Okay. Definitely the second ability for Acheron teams then, Jesus. So I was just going to try this team without Gallagher to see how consistent we can get her ultimate, but obviously in this case where she basically, okay, that was dumb. I am kind of just autoing here, but yeah, auto's dumb. Yeah, it was honestly kind of close here. I was hoping it wouldn't be this close, but it was also close on the Argenti side, so I'm not really surprised. Yep, but there we go, the 80k. We didn't have to do it, but I got 80k on stage 4. We'd have to get 80k on stage 3. But yeah, not much of a showcase this time. She's E2 now, she does more damage. In the teams I more wanted to take her in, like I said, this probably will be my main team now, and she just basically gets a damage buff. Also, her ultimate faster. Let me know what you think though in the comments down below. Dropping a like or subscribing to the channel if you enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.